जान जा ऐ मेरे हम सफर ऐ मेरी जान जा मेरी मंजिल है तू तू ही मेरा जहां
बहुत प्यार करते हैं तुमको सनम कसम चाहे ले लो कसम चाहे ले लो खुदा की कसम
बिन तेरे सनम मर मिटेंगे हम आ मेरी जिंदगी
आना ही पड़ा सजना जालिम है दिल की लगी आना ही पड़ा सजना जालिम है दिल की लगी
समझ कर चांद जिसको आसमान ने दिल में रखा है समझ कर चांद जिसको आसमान ने दिल में रखा है मेरे महबूब की टूटी हुई चूड़ी का टुकड़ा है मेरे महबूब की टूटी हुई चूड़ी का टुकड़ा है
वादा रहा सनम होंगे जुदा चाहे न चाहे ज़माना
चुरा के दिल मेरा गोरिया चली उड़ा के निंदिया कहाँ तू चली
Okay. Okay, what is up? Oh yeah, it's down there. Like these cameras didn't work, so it's down here. Part of the armpits. Anyway, kind of fun to search for Hindi music. Apparently, I can sort to use commercially. I guess only copyright free music pops up now. It's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. I don't know if Spotify does this or any other thing, but pretty sweet. So I was watching Anton, who people may know. Anton, I forget his name. Anton Petrov. This guy is. Anton had some new videos on Earth. And let's see. Donut. Evidence of a donut-like structure hidden inside planet Earth. That's one of the things. I'm not sure if that's what this is. Yeah. Seismic low velocity equatorial torus in the Earth's outer core. Evidence from the late Coda correlation wave field. It's like, well, go on. So apparently there's like a difference in the earthquake measurements dependent on where on Earth it is, and the interpretation is because in regard to earthquakes like passing through the core, differences in how it passes through the core. And the interpretation is that the core has an actual shell. Let's see if it says donut in the paper. No. Don't see donut in the paper. But the drawing here, cross section with an area around the outer edge that apparently has this effect, which has led me to look at some other things that some of his other videos and what papers he was talking about. This one came up where there are anomalies in the Pacific that were unexpected. In the Western Pacific here, I believe, and then also over here. Interesting. Over here. Wow. Western Pacific anomaly, and then this said Telkhinia anomaly. I was trying to pinpoint these. I'm like, where is this? This is like across somewhere. Western Pacific, Eastern Pacific. And this is at depth, I guess. So there's a deep anomaly called the Telkhinia anomaly, which I believe, based on other papers, is generally in the Western Pacific. But I was like, what the Telkhinia? So then I went here. 27. I think I looked at this one, or maybe this one. One of these. And I think that's what this is. Totally on the up and up and nothing awry here at play. And I just went like Telkhinia. And I was just like, north-south trending belt of positive wave speed anomalies under the central Pacific Ocean has been interpreted to represent a series of Triassic-Jurassic intraoceanic subduction zones called the Telkhinia subduction zones by Vandermeer. Figure 90, which is at late on in this. These anomalies are detected in two models. In the lower mantle at depths greater than 1,500 kilometers, 3 distinct intraoceanic subduction zones were correlated to these anomalies. I didn't actually read this, I just looked for the images I was going to say, and then I was like, where are the images? And then I scroll down, the images are at the bottom, but there's a lot of images at the bottom, which is pretty cool, all over the earth. But before I move on from this, donut. Did someone say donut? Let's see, can we find a good core? Here's one that looks relatively spherical. Looks, at least from this angle. And from this angle, looks relatively spherical. almost like it's holding a planet. It doesn't usually look like it. It usually looks more like an ammonite, but sometimes it looks like some blend of the two. I believe if I go to docs. Here's one more donut like around it. But I'm looking for this one. Really looks like the ammonite is kind of like broken down. A sphere internally. I guess this is not as good of an example for a donut. The point is, it immediately made me think of specifically shallograms, but the way ammonites form when in a shallogram setting. This one is like a nucleus dividing into two parts, it seems. Like it structurally is like that. These are not fossils, they are products of current flows of water. Binder. Little donut shape, because what I'm getting at is the core is not a ball, it's a ammonite shape. It's more of an ammonite shape. That is the point. It's porous, even like it sounds like it's like got pores that allows like flow through it in some way. That also tends to happen in shallograms, but also for it to get like trapped within it. In terms of the erosion, like it's, even though it's solid, it's being eroded, which is stripping away the particles the smaller grain particles that fill the space between the larger grain particles, and that then removes the particles, leaving behind only the larger grain particles. But those are porous because they're larger grain, so there's space between, and thus the system becomes porous. So there's probably something of that nature at play at the inner core. Where it's literally like this, but layered out and 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 out to the size that it's actually the inner core. Maybe not like so defined as it I just described it, but maybe there's high definition because of what it is. Where like it truly has the characteristics more than it tends to happen on larger scales, where there wasn't enough energy to create the same structures of ammonites in a more defined way, where it's clear, like the Colorado Plateau is an ammonite in that it's the same mechanism that formed it. In both cases, an eddy current in the matrix. It's just one was way larger, the Colorado Plateau, and there wasn't enough actual energy to make it become like an ammonite. So it just has the characteristics and is one, but it isn't, in that it's the Colorado Plateau, and no one, to my knowledge, besides myself, has like been like, it's an ammonite. Anyway, but the core would probably be more clear, is my thought. In this, more of this nature. Maybe having ribs like this even, I don't know if there's any. Let's see. Let's go to Google Scholar. Inner core ribbed geology. I don't know. Shiza. Like, what is this saying? Earth's seismic. Oh, outer core. Oh. Same difference. It has the ammonite shapes, I guess, in the outer core. So maybe it's more like out here then that they're detecting kind of shape. Or it's not up here, it's not like a ball. It's more to a side, like a donut. How's this music going? Sounds pretty. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It looks like it should be. I don't know. Hopefully it's not too loud. It looks like it might be really loud, and that would suck if it was really loud. Like, I'll just turn it down in case. If it was really loud, that would suck, but so be it. To the inner core, I guess. Maybe has also. And then a space between. I don't know what's going on with these, really. There it is. Also, I found it interesting that they had eddy currents in, like, swirls in the core of the earth depicted in this paper. Like, the types of flows I'm basically saying are going through the chakras of the shalagram, through the core that form the nucleus that forms between the chakras, and literally like taking this kind of flow, and it's depicted in this. I find that kind of validating almost. Cross section of the OC with outer core with the inferred low velocity torus light brown region beneath the equatorial core mantle boundary. So equatorial, it's literally like a shalogram. where there is like a. This one's maybe a little too flat to, like, if people don't already know this, but where there's a base and a top in terms of how these formed and how the energy was. It's the, like, actually in the result in the stone, where there was a top and a bottom, and those behaved as a North Pole and a South Pole, and the rest of the rock behaved as having an equator where current flows around the material like a planet, where around the two poles upward tended to meet with currents flowing in opposite directions that then led to eddies that just commonly formed at the above the, like, widest point of the stone as a cradle holding this eddy that then shaped the stone while the current from the top went through the chakra down to the base, where it ran into resistance and then fanned out in all directions, where then it went back up to the top through a conduit and then went back down through and cycled down into the base, where then it worked its way over here and went up this way and down and inside the matrix as well as outside, but like inside the matrix, transporting the actual particles that were transportable, and also those that were not, became compressed and stripped of the subtler particles and shaped by the current flows that were taking the shapes of toroids because of the energy present. Whoa.
चाहा क्या क्या मिला बेवफा तेरे प्यार में
So many thoughts going to my mind. Kind of complex thoughts that maybe aren't gonna make any damn sense if people are. I don't know if I can play this, if it like plays off of this. I don't know what to click. It's a bunch of Bollywood songs, but I don't know what that really means. Does that mean it's in a movie in Bollywood? I just want, like, instrumental. Shit. How about Native American? Maybe this one? feel like I need a way to. There's gotta be a SoundCloud to stream source. Stream label. Add source. New source. SoundCloud. Oh god. They're all donations. What the frick? I don't know what this even is. Subscriber. I hope that doesn't get freaking copyright struck. There's gotta be a way. How to add. How to stream lives. SoundCloud information, I guess. Media share widget. Oh man. Add source. Media widget. Media widget. Ooh, media share. Ooh. To tip to share videos on your stream. What the fuck? There's gotta be a freaking music. There's gotta be a music. It's all. What the frick? No, not that either. Pardon me, pardon me. This is maybe. Okay. So I was thinking about the hypothesis that I've put forth in the past. It's complicated, and if it's the first time people hear it, it sounds ridiculous. There's so many elements to it that I can only say in passing, but maybe I can pull up current flows. Currents of the earth. So currents that flowed on the earth during the global flood that shaped the earth are, for example, this that I've talked about in many places. Here's a Colorado Plateau being an ammonite, basically. Another current, so this one actually shows up in one of those papers, I think. So these things are maybe worth just looking at. So notice there's this eddy here. That was where Australia was. Ontong Java Plateau was forming there. Ontong Java Nui which is Ontong Java, Manihiki, and Hikurangi plateaus were forming there. And Ontong Java is scientifically related. This is on Ontong Java, Manihiki, and Hikurangi plateaus were all one. But on top of that, Ontong Java material has been found in like some of these islands, I'm not sure, but in the East Mariana Basin and other places where I think even up here where there is a current flow in my analysis from this area going up that way, interacting with other things, but that's happening probably also while it's over here going up that way. While the earth is expanding, because the earth expanded as a result of the flood, which is these current flows that we can kind of just glance at, I guess. So there's a current flow running into the eddy, going down and around the eddy, and then running into the eddy centered on the Great Lakes, which I was thinking maybe was a previous eddy center before Hudson Bay, when the eddy was smaller, but it grew and it moved to Hudson Bay as the main eddy center, while still the Great Lakes was one. I don't know. But then the current also goes down through here, goes over here, interacts, does all sorts of stuff we've talked about. This one right here goes through here, goes this way along the Hudson Bay pressure. I'm just like, oh my god, if I'm muted. And then the secondary vortex from Great Lakes causes it to bend, where it's going this way, and then it bends to go this way, and then it goes down this way, and eddies into Chicxulub, which is why Chicxulub actually happened, and a current goes off this way and goes through here as well, and it continues also this way, which is in other images in here. Here's some images related to Ontong Java. Shatsky Rise and Hess Rise over here. Mid-Pacific Mountains. Some other currents. Eddy here. I was thinking these are more specific currents, I guess, because there's a eddy of a current going this way that I believe had some specific reason. I can't remember for why it was going in initially, and then it became an outlet, but I'm not completely sure anymore. But this is a part of it where there's current going down this way, eddying here, going up this way, going down next to it, up this way, so they're interacting, some of which is going past while holding a portion there, so it might have exhausted off, but especially held there. Other stuff going on with the currents, and then current passing through, weaving through the Rockies as it formed them, weaving through. There's Bighorn, here's Yellowstone, where flow is going in and being focused in while this is all happening, and this is going towards Hudson Bay basically, but then being blocked off by the pressure generally, where there's enough resistance that it builds a mound. Other stuff going on with the currents, Hudson Bay pressure, some images I never bothered to, these were, I don't know whatever happened to my capacity to freaking zoom in. They're high resolution, so I could draw on them and do like this one, and then do them all like that. But I didn't do it. So there's that. That's all of these. There's probably some more at the beginning I skipped. Eddie over by the, I forget what this is called, Guaycol or something. Somewhere in Ecuador. And Peru. It's boundary of Ecuador and Peru. Current going in, eddying here, splitting where some goes left and south. Some goes south, some goes north. Current is applying pressure this way, holding this boundary so that this current is deflected in this way and split. And then as this current runs into it, some of it goes outside this way and kind of joins this somewhat, and then it does that repetitively here where it exhausts this way and joins current going that way rather than exhausting this way as much. Other stuff in Eddie here. This is kind of relevant to even look at the Eddie there, just because of, like, oh yeah, this goes this way, up and in, and like rotates back. Relating, like, as a product of the Eddie here, which is in the terrain, like it's in the terrain. Maybe it's not the most visible in what I'm drawing, with the drawing on it there, but it's in the terrain and beyond there too, even like out further. Some like band also going this way, or at least trying to, that's running in here. Probably also going like over here, running in there at a higher elevation, literally the flood. And so part of it was doing this based on the structures present in the ocean floor. So that as the ocean floor was forming, it was being shaped by water currents that were doing that. That were more so going across and running into resistance, but also going through here and around. So it was going up and around South America. Basically doing like a shallogram teeth, I guess. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Where it's going here, it's going probably went down and then was going back up. I don't know where it went down. Like back when Papua New Guinea was over here. Australia was next to it. This was closed and it was probably still going up and back down. Just not with as much of a current. So this must have been a really intense current going across, up, down, running into this current, causing it to loop around Bermuda. While this other current's coming down, running into it, but getting past it, because that's how much energy was in it. Then it went past it and went down this way. I know it might sound kind of ridiculous. additional, like the same thing kind of happening back here too. Although where it's going across, running into resistance, going up, running into resistance, going over, running into itself, going across and up, leading to like a boundary, and having this wedge in here. This is Andrew Macaulay. That's kind of fun. Kind of fun. And then the chakra here. That then has like another chakra, in here it looks like it's the head, but really it's just the shoulder, and here's the head, but really it's just the shoulder, and here's the head, but really it's just the shoulder, and here's the head of the chakra. So this chakra that goes back here seems to go really energetically up to this point, which is very important in my research, this location, in this general area, in terms of the energy that was there. Also can just see some like divides in the earth, the way the earth is structured as a product of the process. Some other stuff, I think I traced current flows here on Madagascar. Little yin yang thing there. This down here being like related to the process. 125 to 75 million is the age of the East Mariana Basin, according to drill samples. And that reminds me, this thing, this paper, let's say oldest. The Western Pacific anomaly is located directly below the absolute plate motion path of the oldest part of the Pacific plate since its formation around 180 million years. Oh, dang. It would be really unfortunate if it freaking auto-played copyright music when I search for no copyright. Test, pretty much. Test run. The Nine Inch Nails one did not get copyright. I was pretty surprised. Like, it really was copyright free. But the thing is they say here, that's the thing, is even there's new research, no one's acknowledging this is just not true. In that it's not the oldest. That's not what the drill samples demonstrate. That is what the magnetic lineaments suggest. think that's what they're called. This is not true. It's not true. It is not true. Sampling of... let's just read that real quick. Sampling of the igneous crust in this Arca by the deep sea drilling program and the ocean drilling program allows direct evaluation of the age and blah blah blah. Direct evaluation. Studies of seafloor magnetic anomaly patterns suggest the presence of Jurassic oceanic crust in a large area in the western Pacific that includes the East Mariana, Nauru, which is next to Ontong Java, and Pigafetta basins. So, that's not this. Nauru is over here, Nauru basin, and I believe Pigafetta is like here maybe, or here somewhere, like near East Mariana basin. Sampling of the igneous crust in this area by the deep sea drilling program allows direct evaluation of the age and petrogenesis of this crust. Blah 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 blah. Average 114.6 plus or minus 3.2. In agreement with the Albian late Alpine age of the overlying sediments, but is distinctly younger than the Jurassic age predicted by magnetic anomaly patterns in the basin. It's not true. So I find that like worth noting, because when I was looking at let's go. It's down here. So it starts basically north of Fiji. The Telkhinia anomalies. So it's not even just one, it's an entire stretch, which I looked through this list. It's alphabetical. And maybe I should just go through it as quickly as I can and point out how some of them are pretty crazy. I don't know what to make of it exactly. Oh my god, this was not the fastest method. It's still not. Okay. Somewhere soon. So this is measurement stuff, and now the actual data they're getting. This is two different models of the same regions. So this one is around Greece, where an eddy happened, which I don't think I put that on. Like that. So there's an eddy here. And then there's one of these anomalies there. So as I'm looking at this, I'm like, it's probably eddy related. I don't know, that's my thought immediately, because the first thing is like actually basically at an eddy, maybe a little high, almost like it was compressing a mass in one area, because I believe this is a positive anomaly. Just based on plus, I don't even know what the anomaly is exactly in terms of if that means it's like denser, or like this to me almost looks like where an eddy got down and in and like went under to some region where it flows. This is across this line from northern Africa into like Europe, I guess. So looking down in this model, I believe the top model and then the bottom model is how they do these. We see this section that seems like generally around where the Mediterranean begins. It goes down like underneath here, underneath Greece, basically underneath, and then down, and then it seems to be in some region where it looks like a flow was happening through here and into that region where it could flow, and then it was flowing under Africa. It looks like through Africa, like something 120 to 100 million for the base age is the interpretation. I didn't know what to make of some of these things. It's also 1,400 kilometer depth to the top of 0 kilometer depth. Here's one near where Hawaii began, 90 to 85, 50 to 45, where the bend happens. So where Hawaii, the seamount chain, started to form, and then when it bends is the time of this one. I don't know if it's like related to current flows that are like able to no longer affect this area after Hawaii is out of the way, pretty much. I don't know, but Aleutian, similar, less focus on things I've really looked at besides just generically tying it to things. Algeria, 180 to 170, 140 to 120. So there's that one. Not some of these are. This one was kind of crazy. Like, whoa, at really high depths. Across that depth, both the models really see a lot of the blue, which is a positive. I guess it's on a different scale. I think the other ones went up to like 2, one of them. Those were the same, 0.5 and 1. But this gave me the impression of like a channel through this area. Like, certainly at times it looks like a channel doing similar to what we saw with South America, like going this way and then back down, but where it looks like maybe it went back up and then back down and then back up and then back down, maybe. I don't know, based on the anomalies, we'll see better anomalies. Like this one, maybe across India there, like going across this area. Where it's flowing underneath across a lot of it, it looks like. to me, if I would interpret the blue as literally where water flowed more, or even like it contributed to making the blue be the blue. Not that the blue is because of the water, it's just that's where the water channeled, maybe, or whatever it was channeling. Maybe it's too specific to say water, but something channeling through, probably water, water-based fluid. That was channeling and cutting from below in a way where it could like cut all the way up and create an actual divide in the continents, like it did between North America and South America. I mean, it makes sense that it was like that because it just opened the Mediterranean. It just opens the Mediterranean, and then the Central Atlantic Magmatic Province happens. No. Oldest ocean cross Mediterranean age. Yeah, so it opens here, goes westward as it opens. It's opening this way. And then it cuts between North America and Africa. Yeah, it's like 200 mil. 200 mil. Why? Hold. Shoot. But the oldest Mediterranean is actually not. Where's that? This one. Here we go. Interesting that the Western Mediterranean has really young crust. So it cut here, went back, cut across here, and then up and around. Notably, on top of it going like in a wave type pattern, this portion here, if we just follow around here, is a Fibonacci spiral kind of growth pattern, ignoring the new accreted terrain. If we just kind of follow across this way to here and wrap all the way around to here, wrapping into is a Fibonacci spiral that I've overlaid on top it before because it's a friggin' Fibonacci, because it energetically flowed into here. Maybe because the current was running into another current that was creating an eddy, where some of the current went this way and went up and around, and some went this way and went down and around, that could have theoretically spiraled in. But another current was applying a pressure into this region. So instead, it went around it and up that way and below it and down this way. Another kind of current flow path that seems to have gone across India and then up, but then like down once things changed, like the ocean formed, would be my guess to why there's this too. But where it generally was wrapping around here. Leading to all of these, like they name them, so like this image shows up again. I don't know if that exact one, that might not show up exactly, but some of these will show up repetitively where they're named. So this is really like, whoa. What a current flow it seems to show through here that maybe went around here and down and across and like so part of my interpretation of what happened was the South China Craton was in the region of Tibet, in that it was literally atop Tibet. And Tibet was below at the depths, and before it was like or maybe even just not formed in the void. I'm not completely sure anymore. I'm just thinking, like, was it at the depths? Like, that would be a lot of pressure. I don't know if Tibet has that. I can't remember. But in short, a layered. Oh yeah, I was thinking playing that. Yeah, right. Free weekend just did not care. Just be like, oh, that was the same game. Rinse. Recycled. But South China Black Craton. I believe my interpretation was that Indonesia approximately like this general area was below it, and Tibet was like I don't know exactly, some general thing where Indonesia was in the position north of India. I can't. It's been a while. I might be stacking too much when they were more sequential. It might be too ridiculous to stack where like initially it was like India, with the South China block. And then this moved out. And then the Indonesian block formed. And then that moved out. So this was gone. And then this moved out. And so that was gone. And then in this space, Tibet was more able. I don't know. My thought is that it was more an underlayer to at least one of them at a time, where it was way less compressed and like filling the space until things happened that the Indonesian archipelago moved over this way, which we've talked about in like the last 50 underground science episodes. I know it's a lot of there's a lot of stuff like related to this process. I'd say in the last 30, like 400 forward, there's definitely stuff. There's 360 forward, all of it relates. It's all kind of like working out the puzzle, and certainly a work in progress at all points, but like providing an actual interpretation of these that allows for insight, like they're just kind of there, like here's an anomaly, here's an anomaly, here's an anomaly, like they're just kind of there. What are these anomalies? We don't know. They're kind of this, that, maybe certainly theories and interpretations at play, but being kind of divided into parts where they're named like this, and like it's not presented. It's literally not presented as a single system, even though it's at depth, and maybe it's because of the different depths. But here's one that is really recent, but at the position of near the nucleus of the Australian ammonite when it was initially forming, which is a little odd, its position. It seems more related to the process of the Indonesian archipelago moving over and Hawaii stopping and bending. This age is around when the bend is. This age is maybe more around when like its subtler second bend is. It's not like here's a first bend and then a second bend that happens around here. First bend is at the same time as this caldera forming and relates to it, and then the second bend I have supposed that it relates to this corner region over here in some energetic way. I mean, we certainly see the energy is being like focused over here and through to over here and going through, but where maybe that's related to this thing. We see stuff over around Fiji and like right up to New Zealand along that stretch. Just thinking that like the trident from here that shoves Hawaii north where it goes. I know this is gonna sound like, what in the fuck did you just say? The trident and so on. But it went through this way, shoved Hawaii as a sphere into over in this region, like here somewhere, or Fino, creating the western Idaho shear zone. Went out this way where it ran in through here, creating a Chomsky thing here, plateau. up to the North Pole location, and then moving over here where it was then here when all this terrain was in different relative position, literally because of the amount of energy of this event. And then it swung it back and shot out this Hawaiian sphere that rolled this way, ran into resistance, ran into resistance, and rolled this way, leading to multiple bends because of the interaction with resistance as it like shoved open the earth basically, and the earth expanded. I found this pretty crazy. Atlantis, I thought they did it for fun, of course. Atlantis, that's over here. Arcana EMAG 2 G plates. Kinda need to open this. Here's the trident. The angel with a trident that goes off of it. Where Hawaii was when it came out of Australia. I know it sounds ridiculous again. Came out of Australia where an ammonite was, and it was birthed as a sphere that came out of this underneath Australia, went over here, where then it folded outward to over here, and then went this way, where before the earth expanded, which was over here. So it went up this way and ended up going to the North Pole, which was actually up here. This is where this ridge is. You can kind of see its shape in the boundary here. In this general area. So it's up here. It was that boundary, so it went up to there, rolled over, and then swung out. It's launched out that way. Meanwhile, currents are going up this way and then wrapping around and going back, which we see here. Up this way and then wrapping around and going back, where they're generally leading to a current along the margin of Asia, where the Earth was cut apart into continents. So along that margin that it cut it then led to a current flow that went that way, but not before the current was already latched on to Indonesia when it was north of India, in the position of Tibet, basically. And it slid out this way as the current flow that was going this way and this way was actually going up this way and then across to where shallograms were formed over here. So I was having a thought at some point that maybe like Indonesia maybe was some intermediary that was like pseudo hollow with like regions of it with less material. So it was kind of hollow-esque. And maybe shallograms relate to that. That's what I was thinking. And to the South China Craton. Above it, almost like the core having a donut. The Earth's core having a donut by being interior in a circumstance where it's under high pressure and interior. It can have a donut as maybe the line of reasoning for the donut. I don't know why exactly they think it has a donut shape, but like based on the pressures. And so maybe it required very high pressures. I mean, there's definitely like railroad tracks in Tibet where like it literally shoved the material away and down this way and moved it, shifted it, said you're going over there now, and spilled it out into some gap that it was forming when the earth was expanding. Almost like if you have a bunch of books that are like next to each other and then you just take out 10 of them and then they just kind of fall into the space between. But this one was in the right conditions to actually fall into the space between. That's my thoughts. Atlantis, though. I was looking if this circle, I've never seen anyone mention it. Yeah, it's quite in that location. I've never seen anyone mention this thing. Except me. The mentioner of things. Fuck yeah. How about what is that instrument? Isn't it called? Guqin. Let's do that one. Guqin. Use. Okay.
Ordinary person's definite feeling of the way he exists and who he is a hallucination. You are the total energy.
Terence McKenna. Hilarious. Cool. It seems to be in the same place as this. These are not magnetic anomalies. Tomographic means earthquake based. No, it doesn't. Does it? I think it does. It's gotta, yeah, seismic waves. Yeah, it's not magnetic. Not the same as this map. This is magnetic anomalies, not earthquake related, but the magnetic anomalies have that feature there where it's not always 1-to-1. Like, let's say over here we have some strange feature.
Feel yourself as a separate ego,
It's not
a source of
really.
and awareness that is entirely
mean, it's
separate and independent from the rest of the world,
less.
somehow locked up inside a bag of skin, is seen as a hallucination.
Whoa. There's so many of these. Oh, it's literally alphabetical, and this is B. So, pardon me as I scroll fast. I don't want to get caught up on ones. This one is one of the better ones for seeing that current flow path that seems to be present. Definitely relates to current flows I've mentioned in the past, which is kind of cool that there are at depth current flows that seem to be visible. Interesting. It's almost like the current that was running into it also went down and back, while the other current like pressed a wall between the two. Like, what? What can do that but a current? It's literally channeling. Incredible. Look at that thing. Up, over, around, up. One of them's called Maracaibo, so there's one right at the edge of the Caribbean arc. There's also one at the edge of the Scotia arc. So here's one in the area of India, in the Arabian Peninsula, or Arabian Sea. In the region of Dwarka, really, 81 to 65 million, 55 to 45 at the time of the KT boundary kind of time frame, which a lot of these seem to be. Not all, but a lot of these. This one's actually kind of late. A little surprisingly late. Some of them are a little surprising ages. I don't know if that's just based on depth or what. Carolina Ridge, apparently, interestingly, Caroline Ridge is in Ontong Java, basically. Interpreted quite recent. Or no, west of Ontong Java. Just west of Ontong Java. Some more going through. Really looking like currents passing through, like teeth in a shallogram. Imagine the Earth. Let's see if I can find some just kind of round ones. Not the best, but so be it. In terms of best example. But just cutting the entire Earth, though, where its currents are cutting. And then segmenting them apart, filling in the space between with the ocean floor. Ugh. This hot job box. Oh my god. Oh my god! Kind of like here, I guess. Another one more centered on the Australian Ammonite, which actually is leading into the KT boundary. 83 about when the Hawaiian island chain started to form, so it's quite late in terms of the age interpretation for being related to Hawaii itself, but generally like following the same flow patterns. It kind of makes sense. There might be an anomaly that is detectably at a different time, but still high energies and things. Interesting how it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, and then it has like an up where it like really goes up, and then they're pointing at this anomaly there. There's also, they seem to ignore the orange minus anomalies. I don't know why. In terms of what's really highlighted. Central China, so all of Asia seems to have had a lot of undercurrent. Chukchi, so where the sphere went through an anomaly. The base age is before, but the top age is also before. So it seems to be in the same general region, but not quite from the sphere going through. Like the same process exactly. I'm not sure. I know these things sound ridiculous. Especially... No, they sound ridiculous. I'm like, especially if you say they sound ridiculous. No, they do. I get it. But fuck, truth is truth, man. Here's a good one that looks really like it's cutting the earth apart. It's cutting up. So down, literally depth of going from about here and down and underneath whatever this is, Honduras. I don't remember. Let's see. Nicaragua. I think that's Honduras. Am I terrible? Yes. I mean, I knew that. I knew that. Just wanted to play. Like, I didn't know that. That's all. But yeah. So, gives me the impression that there was like a current flow along there that maybe formed a crust that still was going though, like along the edge of the continent. It's kind of like sloped down underneath it. don't know. The cutting. Like, this is ocean floor that seems to have this too. Okay, what time is it? I gotta go. I'm just freaking... There's definitely more cool anomalies in here. I don't know if I want to just... $85 to $45 on that Gibraltar one. 40 to 30 Great Basin. This one caught my eye. Where's... Oh, here we go. This one's got Gookin. Said to be 1933 recording. Oh, cool. Oh, what? Cool. Let's see if it brings it back. Okay, good. But do you guys see this really? So this anomaly. But then there's another anomaly that's right here. Another one right here. Another one right here. Another one right here. Then if I look over here, there's one here. Maybe it goes down there. Another one here. Like a center there, like chamber there, chamber there, chamber there. Like I feel like I kind of see an ammonite type shape with chambers. Or something like that. Also maybe goes bigger, but mind you, the reason I say that is because I'm like, Great Basin, brah. Alright, Great Basin. Bighorn Mountain. Great Basin. Brah! Great fucking Basin, brah. I was all looking up. Oh, yeah. Here. Not Yellowstone. Bighorn Mountain is a focal point. In the magnetic anomaly map. That then is like is basically an ammonite shape, like generally. It's got the characteristics of an eddy that was shaping the region around it. And then I saw that. And the image is pointing at the blue thing there, but then I'm like, there's another one. They're kind of spiraling around this area that has like a relative low kind of there, but it's not very strong. But around it is, it just looks kind of ammonite-like. This one does not have that same thing going on. So there's that. I'm not saying also that it's truly this even looks kind of like an ammonite, like a spiral boot. Not saying it truly is. Oh, it's interesting. How do I ensure this has Gookin? Ooh, that one does. Guzang, Guzang. Okay. Some of these images seem to be like this shows it on the West Coast. It seems to be on the East Coast. Yeah. Definitely, it looks like there's a pole-to-pole current that was going like this way. Generally going pole to pole, which we see in shallograms. It's a thing where a system, let's say, a system like that can have a pole up here, another pole down here at the base, like actually on it, but not a physical pole where the surrounding energies are such that this is the top and the bottom at the time of the formation of the shallogram. And then it creates an eddy around these poles that then leads to a balance point between them. That balance point can also have kind of like a region where like this is going, say, this way, and then this way, but then this way, and this way, where this one down here has like managed to cross over, and this one up here has managed to cross over, leading to some interactions where there's basically a region of crossover that then leads to eddies forming more so like that literally drill into the stone. A lot of the time smaller, but drill into the stone, and that eddies inward into the pressure, the surrounding pressure, so that it either continues to eddy forward through and like drills a hole just straight through the rock kind of thing, where the hole ends up looking like this and has like a little protrusion on one side. Well, this is a void through, an opening in the stone that forms. If it goes straight through, it tends to form like that. But if it doesn't go straight through, it can bend, and like if there's too much resistance, it bends to the path of least resistance, so then it bends, which can lead it to bend like that, so that then when it's going in this way, it ends up going in an eddy like this, which then leads to a ammonite forming as all of this process is happening, which then can lead to, like we were talking about earlier, more of a flow from the base to the top, where it actually has, looking down on the ammonite, like if here's an ammonite, it spirals out, and then it has a top segment. And a bottom segment. The top and bottom will frequently be connected by some form of conduit path, even if the ammonite has largely eroded everything else around it. The currents around the ammonite, the process has eroded. It will retain a connection point between the two because there's this flow from the bottom to the top that just happens. Looking at music to play. Okay, I think... I mean, there's always more to cover. I think I covered the general topics of these papers. Here's the Himalayas, 50 to 35, 25 to 15. At a depth of 1,100 to 500 kilometers, about, like Hindu Kush, much lower depth at the top at least. So lots of curious stuff, but I gotta go. It's too late. Thanks, guys. 6.5 hours, maybe not this time. I'll see you in